In this video we are going to begin to talk about key signatures. Because scales are built on a predictable pattern, the order that the sharps and the flats appear in scales is always going to be the same and also forms equally predictable patterns. The order that the sharps appear in scales is this: F, C, G, D, A, E, and B. If there is one sharp, it is always going to be F sharp. If there are two sharps, it will be F sharp and C sharp. If there are three sharps, it will be F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, etc. So once you add the F sharp to the key signature, that F sharp is always going to be in the key signature. Two sharps will always be these two. Three will always be this. Four will always be this. Five will always be the first five, then six, and then seven. If you start with a C major scale, or in the key of C, which has no sharps and flats, and find the dominant, so in this case the dominant is G, use the dominant to start a new scale, or as the tonic of a new scale. So we go down here with the G, write the G scale, and notice that we have one sharp, and that sharp is an F sharp. This is the key of G, since the key is always named after the tonic of the scale. So we can follow that pattern again. Start with the G major scale, go to the dominant, which is D, and write scale on D using the whole step, half, whole, half pattern. F sharp is still there, but now we add the second sharp, which is C sharp. This is the key of D, which has two sharps. This pattern will continue through all of the sharps until you have 7 sharps, which is everything sharp. So D, go up to the tonic of A, D, go up to the dominant of A, use that as a new tonic. Now we have the key of A with 3 sharps. Dominant of A is E. The E major scale has 4 sharps. Dominant of E is B. The B major scale has 5 sharps, etc. Here's another interesting pattern to notice. Okay, we start here with our C major scale. The last 4 notes of the C major scale are identical to the first 4 notes of the G major scale. Last 4 of G, identical to the first 4 of D. Last 4 of D, identical to the first 4 of A. And this pattern will also continue throughout the entire series of sharp keys. The process for flat scales is very similar as that for sharp scales, but it goes in reverse. The order that the flats appear are B, E, A, D, G, C, and F flats. And again, the flats are added one at a time. If you have 1 flat, it's going to be B flat. If you have 2 flats, it will be B and A flat. 3 flats, B, E, and A, and so forth. To find the flat keys, start with the C major scale as well, but this time you are going to start on the top tonic and go down to the subdominant. Use the subdominant as the tonic to the new scale. So the subdominant is F. Write a scale on F, and you have 1 flat, which is B flat. This is the key of F. From F, go down to the subdominant B flat, use that as your new tonic, and you now have the B flat scale, which has 2 flats. B flat, go down to the subdominant E flat, use that as the tonic of your new scale. You will now have 3 flats for the E flat major scale, and so forth. A flat major has 4 flats, D flat major has 5 flats, G flat major has 6 flats, and C flat major has 7 flats. One thing to make note of, one common mistake, is if you look at the tonics of all of these flat scales, they all, with the exception of F, have B flat, have flat in their name. Don't make the mistake of calling this the F flat scale. The name of the scale is always the note which is the tonic, and since this is not an F flat, it can't be an F flat scale even though there is a flat in the scale. Once again, the pattern for flat scales is similar to that of the sharp scales, except in reverse. So the first 4 notes of the C major scale are identical to the last 4 notes of the F major scale. First 4 of the F identical to the last 4 of B flat, and that pattern will go also through the whole cycle of flat scales. A couple more interesting patterns. The order of sharps is the reverse of the order of flats. So sharps, F, C, G, D, A, E, B, is B, E, A, D, G, C, F. There are numerous mnemonic devices which you can use to remember the order of the sharps and flats, and knowing this order is going to be very important and very useful. This is my favorite, which was given to me by a former student a number of years ago. Starting with sharps, going to flats. Father Christmas gave Dad an electric blanket, and blanket explodes and Dad gets cold feet. Kind of amusing way to remember the order of sharps and then the order of the flats. I can't stress this enough. Memorize this material as soon as possible. It's going to be useful for the whole semester. Know the order of sharps and flats. Know the name of the key, how many sharps or flats it has, and exactly which sharps and flats they are. And then also remember that the name of the key is exactly the same as the tonic of the scale. There's no such thing as the key of F flat or the key of D sharp majors.